Hey everybody, welcome to the show. In this episode, we're going to talk about some things to do outside of Disneyland, in specific, Knott's Berry Farms. Coming up next, from the Bob Varley Studio in Orlando, Florida, this is the Diz Unplugged. This is a special edition of the Diz Unplugged, celebrating the 60th anniversary of Disneyland. The Diz Unplugged is brought to you by Dreams Unlimited Travel, experts at helping you plan the perfect Disneyland vacation. Visit them on the web at www.dreamsunlimitedtravel.com. Hello everyone, and welcome to the show, coming to you from the Bob Varley Studio in Orlando, Florida. I'm your host, Pete Warner, joined at the table today by my good friends, Jenny Lynn Knott.
Hello.
The host of the Disneyland edition of the Diz Unplugged, Mr. Tom Bell.
Howdy.
The lovely and talented Ms. Kathy Whirling.
Hi, everybody.
Also from the Disneyland edition of the Diz Unplugged, the Diz historian, Michael Bowling.
Hey there, hi there, ho there.
And Rhina.
Hello.
It's like Cher.
Just right. Just right now.
Just right. And back in the production nook, our associate producer, Craig Williams, on the controls, along with our producer, Dustin West.
Devastated to be here.
Devastated to be here. That's nice to know. And, of course, the very talented assistant webmaster of the Diz, Mr. Will Perry.
I'm just happy to be here.
He's representing Corey this week. So, and for those who are wondering why Corey isn't here, we're pre-recording all of these. Corey was here yesterday for the slate of shows that we recorded, but he needed to be in Louisiana for a family event this weekend, so he's not able to be here for the rest of the shows, but always here in spirit. So we are going to talk about Knott's Berry Farms. Now, I personally have not been there, but several members of the team, while we were in California, did head over and check it out. And Rhino has put together a video to show us more about Knott's Berry Farms. So let's go ahead and play that. All right, great job on that, Rhino. That's a nice overview of Knott's Berry Farm.
Singular, one
As
farm.
I was corrected as soon as the mics were muted to play that video. It's farm, not farms. There's only one. Such a testy little thing. So like I said, I have never been there, but there is a unique connection between Knott's Berry Farm and Disney, and that is that Knott's Berry Farm is part of the Cedar Fair group of theme parks, which is now run by none other than Matt We Met.
Correct.
Who was at one time the head of Disney Cruise Line, the head of Disneyland, the president of the Disneyland Resort, and robbed of his rightful place as the head of Walt Disney World, instead given the job given to the cleaning woman, Meg Crofton. So we have a little connection here with Disney, but
Well, and also Walter Knott and Walt Disney were friends. And so when Walt was building his park, Walter Knott was one of his consultants that they talked about it, and Walt Disney and his Imagineers, although they weren't called that at the time, they did visit Knott's Berry Farm. On several occasions, Walt Disney observed crowd patterns at Knott's Berry Farm and saw what worked, what didn't work, and applied what he learned from those lessons to the design of Disneyland. And Walter Knott was invited to the opening day of Disneyland and saw what was there, saw how it was received, and was very worried. And then he returned to Knott's Berry Farm that afternoon and saw Knott's Berry Farm was filled to capacity and realized it's going to be okay.
Well,
and it was. They're still here.
Yeah.
And isn't there another story about a now famous young boy who used to go and always look at the Knott's Berry Farm log ride, and then eventually that gave him the inspiration to design Splash Mountain?
Fill us in.
Are you spouting a fact that we don't, that
I
doesn't know?
I've heard it before that Tony Baxter
Yeah,
used to
I've
always
heard
go to Knott's Berry Farm and just watch the log ride and just pay attention to it, and because that was the first log flume ride
Right.
in the world,
Oh.
and so then later on in life he created Splash Mountain.
How cool.
Wow.
I did not know that.
Did not know that.
Yeah.
It's probably not true.
Good one, Craig.
Craig's not reputable.
Michael's over here going, okay, Mr. Historian.
I don't know where
I'll have
I
to
heard that
verify
before.
this.
Yeah. It could be wrong, but it would be cool if it was right.
I think we should also mention kind of why we're talking about Knott's Berry Farm is Knott's Berry Farm is also in Orange County in Southern California and is basically 6.8 miles from Disneyland. So if
Yeah,
you
I always
are...
thought it was much further.
Yeah, so
away.
did I.
It's close. 15 minutes away.
It's closer than Universal Studios Orlando is to Walt Disney World.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
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 And now, did you say
It's almost closer than Magic Kingdom is to Animal Kingdom,
Yeah.
but yeah, not quite though.
Did you say that this is accessible on the ART?
Yes, it is.
So the ART being the
Anaheim Resort
Anaheim.
transportation buses. You have to be a little careful because there are 3 routes in the morning, and then they take a break, and then a few routes in the evening to get you back and forth. But if you can spend a day at Knott's Berry Farm, it's a great way to do it. $5 a day per person.
Yeah, that's cheap, easy transportation.
Right, exactly.
So why don't you kind of just give us a brief overview of Knott's Berry Farm?
Well, let's talk just briefly about the history. Knott's Berry Farm goes back to 1927 when it was actually a farm.
Really?
Yeah, and so he had about 20 acres of berries, and one of his botanists, I guess, Rudolph Boysen, came up with this combination of what is it, Michael? Raspberry, blackberry, and loganberry.
I didn't know there was a Mr. Boysen.
There is a
yeah.
Yeah.
Poison.
Hence the boysenberry, I
It's the
assume.
boysenberry.
Yeah.
Why would they
yes.
name a berry so close to poison? Like,
Holmes comedy.
So they had this farm, and then come 1934, Cordelia Knott, Walter Knott's wife, opened a tea room at the farm and started serving chicken dinners.
Very reluctantly.
Did she really?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was to bring in more money, but she did not want to do it. But Walter
but it
convinced her.
was immediately popular. They had people out the door as they do now, So around 1940, Walter Knott started building the ghost town that basically still exists today to keep people busy while they were waiting in line for their chicken dinner.
What he did is he purchased a ghost town from Prescott, Arizona, and had it shipped over to Knott's Berry
That's one
Farm
way to
and
do it.
rebuilt it.
Yeah.
So around 1941, they added another 100 acres, and the 120 acres is what you know is Knott's Berry Farm today. And they just started expanding from there. About in the 80s, Walter Knott passed away, and the family made a few changes. Finally, in 97, they sold to Cedar Fair, and added a few coasters. So there are a lot of coasters in the park, but finally, as P was saying, Bat Wee Wet's taken over Cedar Fair. They've gone a little bit back and are starting to upgrade their family rides and add a few family things, and doing some nods to their history too.
Okay.
Yeah. So let's talk about Knott's Berry Farm.
Sure.
Yeah.
Where do we want to start? Let's start with the Ghost Town, which is huge. A few cool rides there. The Ghost Rider wooden roller coaster, classic. What was the Pony Express we went on?
Yes, I loved it. It
Yeah.
was just this cute little roller coaster, not too intense, but fast enough to be exciting. We used that as the warm-up roller coaster.
Yes, before the.
Because I had
is
this
that the one
mission
that
to-
you kneeled?
You
sat on a pony.
rode like the horse,
You
yeah.
rode like a
Yeah.
horse.
Yeah.
That was scary looking.
But they also have cool things like the guy making the horseshoes, the old time photos.
I bought a horseshoe.
Did you?
Yeah, because I thought it was like $4. It's one of the. It was an actual horseshoe that was on one of the horses. Like,
Right.
and I was like, "That's a cool, like, unique souvenir."
Yeah. I mean, these are outside vendors coming in and selling their wares.
Well, there was a guy, you could see him in the video. They had an actual blacksmith
Yeah.
there working, like, building. I, like, had a conversation with him for, like, 15 or 20 minutes just about his job and what he does there. And it's like he's legitimately working, and he
Right.
loves it. So
Yeah.
I thought
And
it was
that's
cool.
from the early days of the ghost town. The blacksmith shop was from Prescott, Arizona.
There's a lot of history there. There's little alcoves and little buildings where you can go in and see the schoolroom or the museum, the Knott's Museum. Sometimes they'll have like a Knott's Scary Farm Museum, and it's just really, really cool.
What was that
Yeah.
museum that we walked through that they had all the different machines and
Yeah, that's the one he talked about. It
Okay.
was cool because it had like it had a lot of like the old guns, the little dioramas and stuff. And then a guy was telling us about it was like the original version of a jukebox, I guess.
Yeah.
But it was like from way before that, so it was all made out of wood. And he was just explaining how it worked, and it was just really cool. And they have one of the few that still exist. And I guess he was saying like it functions still a little bit
Nice.
too, but. I don't know. That was a cool experience in itself because it was just this little tucked away museum back there.
yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about Camp Snoopy, which has just been renovated. They redid all that last year. Camp Snoopy opened in 1983 and has a lot of great, some off-the-shelf attractions for kids. What did you think about it, Jalen?
I was impressed.
Okay.
Actually, overall with the park, I was impressed. I wasn't quite sure what to expect.
Right.
My theme park has always been Disney, which
Right.
is, hard to, compete with. And this doesn't, it's not that caliber of park, but I just, I thought that it would maybe be, it exceeded my expectations.
Okay.
I remember walking in and thinking, you know what, if I was local, I easily would have an annual pass to this park. It has great repeatability, in my opinion, especially for families with kids. The Snoopy area is one of the reasons, but it's got a very quaint, good family feel to it
Right.
with decent attractions.
Now, Camp Snoopy aside, the rest of the park, how friendly is it to younger kids?
Well, I would say it's friendly, but there's definitely variety. Whereas, you go to Disney, pretty much kids can go on almost everything.
Right.
Here, there are some that kids aren't going to even want to look at. Like the accelerator, for example. I barely wanted to look at that. But I kind of see that as a plus. There was just a wide range of demographics there. There were the families with the small children, and then there were the teens, and then there were the older crowds, the thrill seekers. It just seemed provide for quite a different a range of demographics, I guess is what
I
I'm
want
trying
to
to
jump
say.
back into Camp Snoopy for just a really quick second because I had never really heard about Knott's Berry Farm. Like I'd heard the name before. So one of the first things I immediately noticed when we walked through is Kathy and I got our picture with Snoopy. Like so they had a character meet and greet like right there, and I just thought it was really cool. And then I later saw, and you can see it in the video, is they had a stage show that was out there, and they had the other characters there. And so I was very impressed for that level of detail that is going on inside of that one section of the park.
Kathy, those sneakers could be seen from space.
I know. They
loved
are.
those
They
sneakers.
glow in the dark, too.
They glow in the light. And for those who are listening and not watching, we just put up a picture of Kathy with Snoopy. And picture's a little underexposed, and the reason it's underexposed is because the brightness of the pink sneakers she's wearing.
They are the most comfortable pair of shoes I have ever owned.
And I would say you're going to want comfortable shoes when you go into this park because you do a lot of walking.
You do?
You do?
You do.
You can get those at Fit to Run at Downtown Disney.
Yes, exactly.
That's the other thing that I think shocked me a little bit was the size of it. I think I was expecting it to be quite a bit smaller, but it is a sizable park that you can spend a day in. And I wanted to say this before. I think one of the things that also impressed me about Knott's Berry Farm is it seemed to be a park that can kind of grow with you. It's something that I would be able to take my children who range from elementary school to high school.
Right.
And there's something for everyone. And it's something that even as my children would grow up through the years, would continue to want to go back, but for different reasons.
But I would say Knott's Berry Farm reminded me of a theme park we had in Pittsburgh, Kennywood, which is very well known. It's won awards and stuff. But Knott's Berry Farm sort of reminded me of what I thought Disney was like the first time, or what it was going to be like. And why would you want to come back more than one day? To me, this seems like a one-day park. It's not a park you would want to come back to multiple days in a row. Now, maybe that's...
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Does Knott's Berry Farm enjoy the same kind of local support that Disneyland does?
Yes.
It's very popular.
So it's very popular among locals.
I was talking to people in lines that just went back regularly all the time, and to the point they didn't care too much about Disney, but they were very devoted to Knott's Berry Farm.
Should we stop?
I was going to say, do you
Let's
want to
talk
keep
about
talking
pricing?
about the other lands first, too? Because you didn't finish talking about the park.
I don't think we're going to go land by land. I want to talk
Okay.
about some of the highlights in the park. We can certainly talk about pricing.
Let's talk about pricing since you just brought up people that return and return. $67 for a ticket at the gate. Don't ever pay that. Go online, $43.
Wow.
If you plan 3 days in advance, $40.
That's a really good deal
okay.
for this park.
Do they ever release the kind of thing like where you go to Burger King or McDonald's and they'll give you a promotion?
They do promotions. They just did a promotion with Susan G. Komen breast cancer research where it was, I think it was $35.
That's awesome.
Wow.
During the holidays, they do special days for military and for fire and police where they can get in for free with a guest and then buy additional tickets for, I don't know, it was like $20 or something like that for their families. So there are great opportunities to get in for a great rate. Annual pass for Knott's Berry Farm, $86.
Wow, that's good.
And that's why it has a locals following.
And they
Right.
do like seasonal events too that make it worth going back for, right? Because we were
Right,
there
yeah.
at an just normal time, but I
Well,
thought you were talking about Not Scary.
They do Not Scary Farm.
Knott's Scary Farm started in 1973. They were one of the first to do a Halloween haunt type event.
And how long does that run? I mean, is it like from like June to
No.
November?
No,
It's very limited.
It's just October.
Yeah.
But they bring in Elvira to host a
Oh,
show.
neat.
Yeah.
Oh, bless her heart.
Yeah.
You were saying they even redo some of the inside of some of the attractions because we
Correct.
went on this cool mine train ride that had. I was very impressed because it's the first time I've seen like animatronics functioning outside of Disney, I guess. And we went into these massive caverns that just had layers and layers of these animatronics at work. And he was telling me that they turn it into like a witch's lair. Or
And
something.
it's perfect at Halloween because it's so cavernous.
Yeah.
And when they convert it over, it's very well done, very eerie and creepy, and because the cavern is so large. They have all these effects just flying around and
Oh,
floating
wow.
everywhere. It's amazing.
I could see how that would be perfect at Halloween. I do want to say this because that mountain specifically, with all the animatronics, is kind of creepy all on its own. When you're going to Knott's Berry Farm, please don't have the expectations of what you will find at Disney, especially when it comes to the animated types of parts of the park. I've never seen such creepy animatronics as I've seen at Knott's Berry Farm. They're just like really scary. They make the Sigourney Weaver animated animatronic in the Great Movie Ride, look like a princess.
Just for reference, Calico Mine Ride opened in 1960.
Yeah.
And the
You can tell.
the
They look
audio
like they've been in there that long.
the audio animatronics for both Calico Mine Train and the Log Ride have been redone just recently by the same company that now does the audio animatronics for Disney. So they also did
Wow,
for Cars
okay.
Land, for Radiator Springs Racers, they did those audio animatronics.
They've improved. Can I ask a very basic question?
Sure.
I'm not sure if we've already covered it or not. Does Knott's Berry Farm in general offer any type of fast pass or express pass?
Yes, they do.
In their park?
I don't know that you need it.
We didn't need it.
We
Yeah.
don't
The day
need
we were
it
there.
at all.
So lines are generally reasonable.
yes, yeah.
So what are some of the other highlights of the park? If someone's visiting Knott's Berry Farm, what do you tell them? Don't miss this.
Got to talk about the chicken dinner, right?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, that was good.
Oh, yeah.
What was it, $17? Something
Yeah.
like that?
Yeah.
But you get salad and a
got
soup.
your drink?
You get, I don't know if the drink is included, but you get chicken, mashed potatoes,
Was it?
corn.
Is that a breast, a
dessert.
thigh, a leg, and a wing?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
you
a
could have-
you could
massive
have the
amount of
chicken.
chicken.
That's after
my
they
Lord.
brought us out this giant loaf, like mini loaves of bread,
Little
and then
biscuits,
like
yeah.
you get the veggies on the side. Like you are definitely getting what you're paying for right there. Like,
$17.
And then boysenberry pie.
yeah, you get a dessert. So I got the ice cream, which was awesome. And Kathy,
had-
you get the pie, right?
Yeah,
Or-
I got pie.
Yeah.
One thing folks should know if visiting, they do not take reservations. You wait in line for the.
And how long a
this is-
wait would, generally speaking?
Could get longer. I mean, we walked. We kind of walked right in.
Yeah, but we ate at like
we ate at lunch.
10:45.
And it was a weekday. And it was a weekday.
Yeah.
But on the weekends it gets busy. Other option is they have a Sunday brunch, which also serves the chicken dinner, among other things, which is kind of cool.
The brunches are like nothing I've seen before.
Really?
They are huge, and they have not only the chicken dinner, but everything from breakfast to lunch to dinner items in there. Lots of desserts. Don't miss getting the boysenberry drink.
Oh, yeah.
They have. I
yeah.
love that.
Delicious.
There's a boysenberry theme throughout the whole park. There's the boysenberry drink, the boysenberry slushies, which I really love.
That ice cream, the
ice cream.
frozen
Ice
yogurt.
cream, the pie.
Didn't we have to go outside the
Correct.
park? to
Mrs.
do
Knott's
this?
restaurant is outside the park, so you could go there without even going into the park.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the locals do that, which is one of the reasons there's such a long wait at
I see.
Nuts Chicken Dinner.
So I want to say just real quick about my impression of this park was going there. People come here a lot, and I've had friends or whoever, and they always say like Disney doesn't have enough thrill rides, or Universal is like the alternative to Disney here. They always said for that reason. Islands of Adventure has a lot of roller coasters, and this to me is the alternative for like it's so close to Disney. It was so easy to get to, and it's not that expensive. That if you're somebody who's you're trying to bring somebody to Disneyland who you're worried that there's not enough thrill rides for them, offer them a day at this park. Just it's just right there.
And
It's
put them
so
on the
easy.
accelerator with
Yeah.
Jenny Lynn.
I did it.
What else? What else in terms of highlights? You have the restaurant.
Right. Well, and the classic rides we talked about, the Timber Mountain Log Ride, you don't want to miss. The Calico Mine Ride, as dated as they are, they're classics.
Right.
They're
The,
classics.
the train ride.
Yeah,
And the train ride.
Yeah.
Did you guys get?
I went
Yep.
with Kathy and we got held up.
Did you get
Yeah.
held up
By
on the
some
train?
gunmen. Yeah.
That's sometimes happens all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And by the time this show goes up, there's going to be a new
Yeah,
attraction.
we need to talk
opening.
about that. Voyage to the Iron Reef opens May.
Sounds like
has-
something from
has
Game
opened,
of
yeah.
Thrones.
No, but it's a
Steampunk, you said? Or-
steampunk. Thank you. That's the word I'm looking for. Interactive ride. Think Toy Story Mania. This takes place in the boardwalk, and for those who've been to Knott's before, a long time ago, this is where Kingdom of the Dinosaurs.
Oh, which used to be Knott's Berry Tales.
Knott's Berry Tales
which was made by Rolly Crump.
Yes, exactly. So that's open now at Knott's Berry Farm. So get over there.
So, and this is really what we've been referring to on the show as a day 6.
Yes, it is.
And for those
Doesn't
that,
fill up a day 6.
This would fill up a day 6.
Oh, yeah.
For those not familiar with that reference on Tom's show, they do a recurring segment called Day 6. What to do after, recommended like 5 days
Right.
for Disneyland to really, really kind of get it all. But most people like to vacation a little longer than 5 days. So for Day 6, what could you do? And Mary Jo's done many
Yes.
segments
Yeah.
about the beaches and about all these different activities around Southern California. So that's why we refer to this as a Day 6 park. Once you've done Disneyland, I don't think you'd recommend skipping Disneyland to do
No.
Knott's Berry Farm.
No.
But once you've gotten your fill
Right.
of Disneyland California Adventure, and maybe you want to just venture out to try something else, Knott's Berry Farm, only 15 minutes away, as Tom
Yeah.
said. Certainly the price of a ticket is not prohibitive by
No.
any measure. And even if you don't want to rent a car and go there, the Anaheim Resort transportation system will take you down there, $5 for the day per person, which is incredible. So really good option
Yeah.
for a Day 6, something to add on to your Disneyland experience. So that is our overview of Knott's Berry Farm, and we hope you enjoyed it, and we'll be back with you again next time with another edition of the Dis Unplugged. Thanks for being with us, everyone, and remember, go to Disneyland now.